Alrighty, happy Thursday. Sorry for that. That was crazy. So anyway, we're getting there. We are on week 6 now, believe it or not. How cool is that? So we've got this week and next week talking about graphical user interface programming, JavaFX, from chapters 12 and 13. Um, Please make sure you get the chapters 11 and 10 and 11 quizzes in. Um, Tonight, I think was the due date, if I remember right. So you got a little more time if you didn't do them yet. I'll open these ones tonight, but they won't be due until like the 23rd, really, our next actual class meeting. Next week, we'll also do some midterm review. So I'll give you essentially a sample midterm here. It'll be half quiz questions, 3 long answer questions where you write some code. I'm going to open it on 10/16 starting at 6 p.m. It'll be due 10/23 at 6 p.m. I was going to put a timer on it, but that seems silly and just not really worth it here. So start it, open it, come back to it, finish it whenever you want, as long as you get it in by the due date. I'm happy. Again, it's meant to be easy. If it's not easy, you and I need to chat and figure out what's not clicking with Java. Uh, Again, I aim for it to take about an hour and a half. So if you had like 20 minutes per long answer question, right? They shouldn't be long answer questions. Just write some code, do something, and then 30 quiz style questions, really from the quiz test banks. You might have had it before, you might not have. I don't think I've got a good way to control not giving you questions you've seen before, but whatever. Um, so ideally, it takes an hour and a half, so that if you do need it, if you did need twice as long, here you'd have the whole 3 hours to do it if we wanted to sit and do it in class. But no one wants to do that here. I don't know. I like evenings. I would probably be fine with an evening exam, but some people aren't firing at all cylinders in the evening, and that's okay. So take it when you're feeling most productive, and you'll be fine there. And then we'll come back and pick up our advanced topics here. Blitz through a couple chapters landing in databases. We'll pick up our database-based project here for project 4, and then we'll finish out databases on the 30th, and we'll come back and start multi-threading and networking where we pick up our final project here. So we are getting close to about done, not too much more content, definitely halfway done now because we got GUI, advanced stuff, databases, multi-threading, and networking. The rest of the content here. Um, and 12.4 I've got set aside just to work on the final project. So work with your group. Everyone should be free Thursday night because no one knew I said you didn't have to come, um, right, when you signed up for the class. So if your team members aren't contributing and aren't participating, please let me know early, right, rather than late. But if they don't contribute anything, they get kicked off the team, and then you fail the class because you didn't turn in a final project. And there is no option to do this yourself. It's a team project here that we're doing, but it should go relatively well. It's not going to be a huge, giant project, but something you can get done in the last month of class. And ideally, you're done by the 4th so that you can focus on your final exams for your other classes. That's sort of the idea here. And on 12/11, you will have a chance to present. This should be fun. Ideally, not everyone does the same project. It gets really boring here. But, if 2 teams out of the 10 or whatever pick the same project, it's not the end of the world. It'll be okay. Sorry, I'm not doing so hot. My insulin pump was malfunctioning, so that's fun. Let's see, my sugar is still high. All right. I was going to go over Monopoly, but we lost half an hour to tech issues. Um, is it okay if we skip that? All right. So we'll jump into graphical user interface application stuff first. Let me give myself some more insulin first. That is not good. All right. And we can go from there. Um, Everything went pretty well with Monopoly, it sounded like. Okay, cool. I hope it went well because we're actually going to do it again as a graphical user interface application and then add in some of the features we didn't have before. So depending on how you wrote and designed your code, it'll be an easy lift and shift, or you're going to have to redo everything. So just sort of up to you. Again, sort of letting you experience the pain of bad design on purpose. So if you didn't design it well, it's going to be really hard to lift and shift into a graphical application. If you wrote it in such a way that your game logic wasn't tied to the to the input, then yeah, you just move your class over and now your buttons hook into things rather than your text prompts. And then, we'll add a couple more features to make it more interesting. So we can have some houses, have some hotels, that sort of thing. I think we can figure out chance cards and community chest cards. There's probably a list out there somewhere that should make it go relatively well. So let me start with graphical user interface application project here. So it's a new project template. There's a lot of magic that happens behind the scenes that doing this by hand sucks. Definitely don't recommend it. It's doable, and you just have to click like 15 extra steps to get a JavaFX project working if you don't use the template. So I'm going to go new project, and instead of picking just a regular Java project, I want, oh my goodness, where did it go? That's not my list here. Okay, this is my first time doing it with the new IntelliJ. That's, no, more versus plugins. Really? Okay. Do I, it's not in the list. Hang on a second. I didn't uninstall the old IntelliJ. Make sure I'm not going crazy here. Those project. New project. This one here, new project. This one has JavaFX. I was not expecting that. Hang on. IntelliJ project. Enable the JavaFX plugin. Okay, let's try that first because it did mention plugins. So more plugins, manage plugins. Okay. JavaFX. JavaFX. Nope, not tag ultimate JavaFX. It's only available with the ultimate subscription. Seriously? Wow. That's really depressing. Of course, they added that to their pay only feature. We can do the steps. It's just really obnoxious. uh, let me try something first. Let me make one here. JavaFX hello world. And I want to see if I can open it in the other one real quick. So we open this up. Create. Cancel that. Why does that have to be so dumb? All right, now we're going to open project here and see if it opens. Because that would save us a lot of hassle. GitHub. It's just not my day-to-day, apparently. Sorry. Trust the project. So, this might work. Let's hit run. Modules error. Okay. Sources 9. Settings 9. Did that. That's more than 8. Use source 9. Oh. Maven sync. Yeah. Mhm. Change it to 9. Load. All right. It started. We still get a couple of warnings here, but that's not the end of the world here. And we get a window with a button we can click on. Finally. Have you done graphical applications before? And how many semesters has it been? Several. Graphical applications are a lot of fun. Much more fun than console-based applications. I click hello. It says welcome to JavaFX application. Hooray! Very exciting. All right. So it mostly works. Let me leave this one here. I'm going to commit this to my GitHub repository. And my suggestion to you is copy paste this project. Go clone the repository, grab this folder, copy it somewhere into your repository, and open it. And that should be fine. We don't need the premium feature that does all that magic for us, which is nice. Because the previous free version that did it for free, oh goodness gracious, did all that. And there's a bunch of stuff here, right? So a lot of the magic that happens behind the scenes happens with Maven. So Maven is our like package manager tool that says, hey, what things do we want to install with Maven here? There's a whole ugly script here, and the POM file says, hey, go get JavaFX. Go get this JavaFX. Go get this thing here. Go get this thing here. Right? And it just says, go install these things. So this is the little Maven window here. We'll go and download all of your dependencies. Right? My project depends on this package here. You could go do that manually and edit your Maven file, or you could even go get the package itself and add it to your packages. Right? You can add a list of external libraries here. They don't have to come from Maven. But if they come from Maven, life just works more easily in general. Because it says, hey, I'll go out and get it for you. Like, yes, please. We don't have to go download it. So it saves a lot of time, energy, and effort here. And we don't have to add jars, which are just these packages. It's just like a zip file with a bunch of Java packages in it here. Works out well. And it sets up the build setup here and all these other things behind the scenes. I don't think we particularly care about this version, and it's using an old call here. That should be fine. I don't think that matters at all for our purposes. Um, we're just playing with it here. It should be fine. What's different with JavaFX applications? They are no longer procedurally driven. And it's a big change. So if you've never written a graphical user interface application before, you have to program it much differently. Because what happens is it launches and then it just sits there and waits. The only thing our application does is respond to user input. Now, every so often you've got something that happens periodically, like on a timer. Most of the time, our application just sits and waits. When the user does something, we have to respond to it. So we're no longer this procedural top-down, we're going to run and go to the end here, or maybe wait for the user to type something and then keep going here. We just have to respond when the user does something. So we're event-driven. So the users trigger events by clicking buttons or whatever we tell it to do here, and then we run some code. So we split this up in a model here. With JavaFX, they have a model view controller way of laying out your code. It's a pretty common architecture design for when we do code. So the view here becomes this fun little fxml file. This is our view. So fxml is JavaFX XML. XML with FX stuff in it here. So it's really just XML, and it has a bunch of stuff, and it actually embeds a little bit of code every now and then. So we're importing some Java stuff here, and then we have XML. So this defines what pieces we're using here in our view. Now, writing this by hand is really obnoxious. Right? No one wants to do that by hand. You can. I wouldn't recommend it here. There's a tool you can go get, which I think is still free here, called Scene Builder from these fine folks at Gluon here. And Scene Builder, yeah, I think this one's still free. You can go download it. I have it installed already from a different class. And it allows you to drag and drop and generates the XML from the drag and drop, which is really cool. So I can go and open an fxml file, or actually, I'm going to hope this works here. We'll find out here. We can, let's see if our settings are right here. If we set it up, we can open in Scene Builder. Where did they go? Open in, no. Okay, they got rid of that button, I'm guessing, because it's not the enterprise version. That's ridiculous. Okay, there's no shortcut. There used to be you could right click and tell it open, and we don't get the shortcut now, which is depressing. But that's fine. So I'm just going to go say open in Explorer so I can copy my path here, save myself a little bit of typing here. And I'm going to open up Scene Builder. Nope, not the snipping tool. Scene Builder. And we're going to go open, and then in Scene Builder I can go paste in my path here. And now this is my JavaFX hello world, the source folder, the main folder. Now it's in resources because it's not Java code. Com example JavaFX hello view.fxml. Big long ugly path here, and I get my view file. Very exciting. This is the main hello world one. Oh, you know, I said I was going to leave this one. Let me leave this one alone here, and make JavaFX hello world 2. Oh, let's do this. We'll call this one copy me. All right. So you will grab the one that says copy me. Okay. I'm going to keep working on the first one. Is that okay? So copy me, open it. You should be good to go. All right. So I'm going to go back to Scene Builder. And now it has this list of recent. And if you never change your default starter page from Hello View, it's really obnoxious, right? Because you don't know which one it's supposed to be here. So I can hover over and it says, hey, this is the one in my path. That's the right one here, thankfully. We can open that one up. Now, what we get is our drag and drop interface that will write this fxml for us, which is really fun. If you remember way back to when you took your first programming class and you learned about functions, and so the rule with functions is you can only have one return, and they're like, oh, haha, by the way, your one return could be a container, and that container can hold a bunch of things. The same thing applies to JavaFX. You get one thing, but that one thing can be a container that holds a bunch of other things. So you get more than one thing, essentially. But we're going to start with a container and then put everything else inside of that container. So the default here that they give us is a VBox or vertical box. I don't like vertical boxes as at least as a starter container. This one's not very helpful here. So I'm going to delete this one here, and it deletes everything. What I want to start with is an anchor pane. So an anchor pane is the quick one, easy one for me to learn here. It gives me a big open box, and I can resize it if I want. So on the right-hand side, you get your individual properties. On the left-hand side, you get your what items you want here, and then your little navigation helper, which is nice. So you can quickly find any of your components here. And then for those of you who've done web stuff before, you can add cascading style sheets just straight out of HTML to style your FX projects. Very exciting reuse of technology. I think I've admitted to you folks before, I'm not very good when it comes to any sort of user experience, user interface design stuff. I like function over form to a fault, and I'm just not good at it. That's okay. So if you want to style it, go for it. I don't care. You don't have to make it look pretty. At some point in the real world, things should look pretty. We're just having fun learning how to code. Okay, so we're not going to worry about making it look pretty right now. So I'm going to ignore styles. Every now and then I'll put a style in to set the font to Comic Sans because it amuses me. But beyond that, I don't touch styles. Okay, so we got our options. You can change anything and everything here, and it will all just change elements of the XML or the fxml, which is fun. Once we've got our anchor pane, now we can start adding stuff to it. So these are all the containers, right? This is my list of containers. There's a bunch of different kinds of containers here. We can look up any of them. It's fine. The more interesting ones are controls. So controls are things that we essentially can interact with, almost all of them. So text fields we can type in, right? Buttons you can click on, checkboxes you can check, all sorts of these fun things here. Labels are non-interactive. So we're going to use labels to show text there. So I'm going to take a label and I'm going to drag it in. And with an anchor pane, where you drop it is where it's going to show up in the user interface. It's anchored to wherever you put it here. So we have this X and Y coordinate system where 00 is the top left. It's not Mathland. There is no origin. 00 is the top left. Okay, eventually you'll get used to it here. So just forget math. Don't tell your math teachers I said that. But 00 is the top left. So this is 00, and we've put it over here. So if I want to save this and go look at the file now, it's at 286.191. Right? That's the pixel location for that text box I just dropped in here. So as I change my file, I had to hit save here. I do Control S all the time for save. It will go and update your FXML file, which is fun. So you can go and see it here. So we see the preferred height and preferred width, starting width is 400 and 600. We put it somewhere about the middle here, not exactly, and got pretty close. Again, the box itself has its own height here, right? The size of the text inside of it. So, it's not going to be, if you start it in the middle, that's its top left. It won't look like it's in the middle, is all for that one. We'll come back to our our label here, which is where we can put text. So as I click on label, I have a different set of options, properties here, right? When I'm back in my anchor pane, I have these properties. When I'm on my label, I have these properties. One of them is text, right? So you don't have to have it say anything to start here. That's the little starter one said, welcome, hello world, or welcome to JavaFX, whatever it was here. But if you take out the text, it's really hard to click on in the center here. So you can always come back to your navigator on the left to go find it again here. Right? Now, an obnoxious thing is if you want to refer to this in code, it needs a code ID. So outside of the properties section, in your code section, you have an fx:id. This is your ID for JavaFX. You have to give it everything in fxid if you want to be able to touch it in your code. So otherwise, it won't exist in your code. So what we do is say, I don't know, this is our text field or something, whatever you want to call it here. Click out and save, and now we come back and it says, hey, its fxid is text field. It was added in here. So what we're going to be able to do is reference this from our controller. So this is our view, right? So you need to add a button still. So we go grab a button. Grab a button here, drag our button. No, drag the button. Click and drag it in. There we go. Drag the button in here. It needs an fxid if I want to reference it in code. Probably do. I don't know. I'll just call its own button for now here. And now on action is what do we want the method to be called that will run when we click the button. And there's all sorts of other things you can do, drags and mouse enters, mouse overs, key presses, any sort of interesting inputs here. Most of these are not very useful for us. On action, at least for a button, is you click the button. That's the easy one here. So this is, I don't know, button clicked. And then we give that a save, and we can change our properties of our button here. Let's have the text be click me, right? Okay, so now we've got a click me button, and it has then a on action of button clicked. So it doesn't look like any code yet here, but we're going to fix that in just a minute. It has its text of click me, so we have all these things, right? We have one item, an anchor pane. That anchor pane can have a bunch of other items inside of it. It's a container, right? But essentially you have one item in your JavaFX. Now, this doesn't have a controller referenced yet, so it's upset. So we have to go back to Scene Builder, and we go to our controller page here. So this was next to the hierarchy view. It says, what class is your controller class? And the starter class came with one called Hello Controller. I'm going to click that. You can have your own custom ones. That's all fine. I'm just going to pick the one that exists there and go ahead and save. And now I'll come back, and now it has a controller, FX controller of com example JavaFX hello world hello controller. So this does the wiring. Says this view is handled by this controller, right? So the view is how we show stuff. The controller is how do we respond to things happening in the view. Okay. So I can go over to my Java section here, open all this up here. I go to hello controller. Now I have all this other stuff here. Right? We don't actually have any of these things happening here, so I'm going to get rid of these here. It's empty to start. Now, we can do this by hand, or we can use some tools. So the tools are really nice. Let me make sure this still works for us here. I want to go to my plugins. I think that is one of these options here, right? More tools. No? Tools and plugins. Where did it go? Settings? Yeah, settings and plugins. there is FXML Manager here is a third-party plugin written by whoever this guy is here, or girl here. I think that's Jan based on those characters. Looks Nordic, so I think that's Jan. But um, this gives us a option here to update our controller from FXML. This is very fun, handy dandy code here. So I've got it installed. You can go install the plugin if you want here. So I can right-click my FXML file and I can say update controller from FXML. And what that does is it generates code in my controller to say, hey, you had a button. I'm going to go put that button in your code. Hey, you had a label. I'm going to go put that label in your code. You had an event handler. I'm going to go put that event handler in your code. Now, what it's not good at, and poor Jan, and I haven't attempted to help Jan, I probably should, is adding the imports. So it says, hey, I don't know what a button is. So we want to go more actions, and we want to import the class here. And we want not the Java AWT stuff. We want the JavaFX stuff here. Java has like 4 different frameworks for UIs now because it's been around for so long. So Java AWT was the original framework way long ago to do Java UI stuff. And then they came out with Swing. So Java Swing exists. And then maybe it's only 3. Then FX. I feel like there's a 4th one there somewhere. I'm not remembering right now. It's in the textbook. So now that adds the import for us, right? And then the action event, we want the same import. So don't import AWT. That is not the right one here. So we want our little, no, where's the little light bulb? Come on. Come on. More actions. There we go. Import class, not AWT action event. Oh, goodness. Where's the right one here? Maven dependency? I don't think it's the one we want here. No. We don't want to make any of them here. Add a dependency. Is that it? All right, hang on. Import JavaFX dot event. There we go. Event dot action event. For some reason, it didn't pick it up. Again, the magic's not always perfect, which is unfortunate. But JavaFX event action event. That's the one we actually want. Everything out of JavaFX. Okay. Now what we get to do in our controller file is what code do we want to have run when the button is clicked? Well, in our case, we wanted to set the text field. So text field dot set text. Oh, look at that suggestion. Amazing. Hello, GUI world or something, whatever we want here. So when we start our program, there's no text set. When we click this button, this code will run here. And now notice it's not runnable yet because only the application is runnable. JavaFX relies on inheritance to work. So it is an application. It's a JavaFX application, which gives it all sorts of cool things that happen here. Right? Lots of fun stuff happens behind the scenes. What we do is we override start. We say, hey, when you start, please go load this view file. Right? Then it says, hey, scene is load that. So it uses a like a stage example. So we've got a stage, and a stage can have many scenes on it, but you only have one scene at a time on the stage. You're all computer nerds. You don't know anything about theater, do you? No? Okay. But there's a stage, and you can have one scene at a time. I think that part tracks at least, right? So we do that. Now, I don't need this pre-sizing, 320, 240. This is before when we used the VBox from the example. A VBox just says, I'm going to put things in vertical order. So we had to tell it, hey, please start at this size. The anchor pane had a preferred size, so we can get rid of the smaller sizing there here. And we just want to load that scene. You can set the title, you set the scene on the stage, and then you show the stage. Thumbs up, right? And then all main does is call launch, which we didn't even write because that comes from JavaFX application, which eventually, when you call launch, will call start that we have overridden. So it's this whole sequence of events we're building on. We're a custom version of a JavaFX application. Right? We've inherited from it. We are an application, but we now do something special is we load this scene here. So now we click run. Our program runs. We get our window, we get click me, and we get hello GUI world. Very exciting. Okay. Now the cool thing with controllers is the same rules apply to Java classes. So we can have a value here, like a private int click count, right? Now you could set it to 0 here. I would argue that's bad form, right? The constructor's job is to give our attributes values, right? So I'm going to make a constructor here, public hello controller, and then I'll set click count to 0, right? Very exciting. oh, it could be marked as final. No, actually, we don't want it final because we do want this thing to change. So every time we click the button here, we're going to take click count, and add 1 to it. And then hello world. And then I want to take, let's take that, I don't know, and add a new line and then add the click count times. Look at that. Sometimes these suggestions are pretty close here. So you've been clicked, click count times. Now, I guess we could just add the plus plus here, right? Why not? Well, let's do it pre-usage. So the first time we click it, we've clicked it once, right? So we'll add 1 before we use the value here. Look at that. We can save a little bit of typing here. Save 1 line, okay? Now, you'll notice these are tagged, or this annotation of @fxml. That's telling us, hey, this is an fxml something item. It came from the fxml file. An interesting thing here is they don't exist in the controller. The controller is Java code. So when you create an instance of the class, the controller runs first. These fxml things get instantiated by JavaFX, not by the controller. So there's actually another method we can write here if we want to interact with these. There's an init method, which will initialize your fxml stuff here that happens implicitly with anything that's tagged fxml gets instantiated, right? So in the controller, they're null and don't exist. We'll crash if we try and access them. If you want to set them essentially as we're getting created, we use init. And we'll do that in a little bit here, but then we'll go back to hello application, give that a run, and see if our click count is counting for us now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. It's counting how many times you click it here. Very exciting. Okay. Now let's add another button, right? So let's come in here, have another button, and again, we can kind of put this really wherever. It doesn't matter too much here. We'll give it a name for, I don't know, other button. That's the text on it here. Oh, now it's not centered. So as you drag it around, you get these little red lines to help you try and center things. They're not perfect, but they're good suggestions. And then I want code. This is my other button here. And on action, other button click here. So we give it an FX ID, give it a on event or on action name here, right? And then set the text if you want. So now we can go back to IntelliJ. It doesn't exist in our controller yet, right? It's not here. So we come back to our fxml file, say update controller from fxml. We could go add it in ourselves, but I'd rather be lazy here. It adds in the method and the button handler here. And what do we want to do with this other button? How about we take click count minus minus? Minus minus here. Okay. Nothing very interesting, but we'll just add another button. We'll give it a run. So because the controller is a Java class, any methods in that class have access to its class level attributes, right? So click me is 1. This is going to go negative a bunch, right? And then I click it again. Now we're at negative 11, negative 10, 9. Right? We're not updating the label yet. Wouldn't it be nice if we could update the label? Yeah, I'm glad you thought that. So what we really want is this thing to happen more than once, right? So I'm going to get rid of that. We're going to take click count plus plus here. And now we can mix and match. We can have our own functions. So this will be a private void set label text or something. And we'll set the text to click count, right? We'll get rid of the hello world bit here. We'll just say clicked, and then we can get rid of the increment here, clicked times. So each of these buttons then can go and call our set label text method that we wrote, right? It doesn't have to all be JavaFX stuff here. We can write our own functions that these can then call if they want. Right? It's a Java class. We have full control over it here. All we get is some automatic, these exist because JavaFX here, which is fun. So we can go through, now we give this one a run. And we can click, 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 up and down, right? We count up, count down, count up, count down, right? Very exciting here. Okay. And if we wanted, we could have more than one of those. You can have multiple counters. Now, at some point, you're thinking, oh, well, we had the controller and we had the view. What about the model, right? It said this is the MVC model, right? For model view controller. Well, model means I'm going to write some regular classes here. And then my controller can interact with those regular classes. So instead of having the controller have to have all the business logic, right? The controller should say, hey, I'm handling your user input. Here's from the view, right? Now go call my class code. Class code, you go do something here. and then I'll go and tell the view to go update or update the view as needed here, right off of that. So we can come back to our package here. We're going to add a new Java class. We'll call this our counter class here. And then counter is not very exciting here. It has a private int for, I don't know, count and a public counter. No, we don't need count equals 0. And then how about a public void increment? There we go. Look at that. Count plus plus and a public void decrement count minus minus. Look at that. It's thinking exactly what we want here. Now we don't have gets and sets. We don't want a set, right? I don't want you to change count directly, but I need a way to go get it here. So I can go generate the set, or I can start writing, again, get count here returns the count, right? Or generate it, and it would be the exact same result here. So now I've got a counter, right? So now in Hello Controller, I don't need to manage my own click count here, right? But what I want is a counter. I'm going to say, hey, I want a counter called counter. And then in my controller, then my counter can equal a new counter. And when I do these things here, it's counter.increment and counter decrement. And to set my label text, it is my counter.getCount. Right? So again, a really lazy example here, but we're taking anything that was business logic and moving it out, right? I just want to interact with other classes here. Hey, you're thinking about your Monopoly game already, right? How does my Monopoly game let players move or increment those sorts of things, right? So I need a button that someone can click on, like roll the dice, and they go and do this thing, right? They move so many times, whatever it happens to be here, right? So we didn't change any functionality here. It does the exact same thing, but now I have a model that handles some of that business logic, right? Click me, click, 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 does the same thing here, but now we've used another class outside of this, right? We okay so far? All right, do you mind if we take a quick 5-minute break or 10 if you want? Is 5 okay? Or do we need 10? 5? Okay, we'll do a quick 5-minute break. I'm going to check on my sugar here. We'll come back and we'll do more fun things with JavaFX, okay? All right, I'm going to hit pause. Cool. So this scene builder tool is not covered in the book. Uh, the book's approach is a code-first approach, which makes sense for more interesting applications here. And when you do Monopoly, you probably don't want to have to drag 40 things around the screen. Definitely an option here, but it's a little more tedious. So if we can go code first, we can create things programmatically, and I can make 40 of something, like all the spaces on the board. It's actually 36, right? Because the corners, isn't it? I don't think it's actually 40. Or is it 10, 10, 10? Is it 40? Wow, I really should know that. Because 10 gets you to the corner. Yeah, I guess it is 40. Yeah, because the corners, you don't double count. So it's like 12, 11 wide, each one. Oh, goodness. So this is definitely handy, easy to mock up, some nice interfaces here, and you can do other fun things. Like you can have menu items. You can have the whole like file menu drop down sort of things. You can do fun stuff with it. You can even draw shapes and like, hey, I want to put a circle in here and do other fun things. Again, it's one option here, one tool. So that uses the model, the view, and the controller. So I'm going to close that down and go back to IntelliJ here. So if we don't want to take this approach, if we don't want to have, hey, here's the view file that my controller launches, that's okay. You don't have to have that. Now, it's probably easy to just have a view file that's just empty. Right? You don't necessarily need to have any of the stuff in it here. It's okay, right? Just having an anchor pane is an easy place to have stuff, um, but you can build it all from scratch as well. So if you wanted to do one from scratch, let's see, yeah, we'll close this one down. I'm going to exit this one. I'm going to come back to my copy me folder here. And I'm just going to copy this one here. So there's hello world fxml from code, and we'll go and open that one up to IntelliJ. We can start modifying it. So let me close this project. There, that's right. I didn't have to close the whole thing. I wanted to close the project. Then we'll go open a project. We'll open from my GitHub 296 from code. Yes, we trust the project. All right, again, this was the VBox. That was the first one it gave us, so that's fun. right? Yeah, let's try and get rid of that. I think we can build it without the fxml file. Get rid of that one. Get rid of our controller. Yes, refactor anyway. Delete. Delete. No, just delete the file. Oh, I keep checking safe delete. That's a fun default. Okay. So hello world, we don't want to do any of the fxml loader stuff here, right? So we don't need to load, but we need to be able to set up scenes here and set items, right? So we can set a scene, in the new scene, and we'll need something to put in that new scene. So let's see, we need a root here. So we have to give it some root. Let's see, it's been a little while since I went and did this here. The book has the example. I'm going to go steal from them because they've got it. How to start our application project. Where's their little starter code? Oh, they use NetBeans, which is so obnoxious. I would not use NetBeans or Eclipse. That's a lot more work than we need to here. Here we go. So we want to start, set a title, and this is the code we're going to steal here. Let's see. Does it paste? I have to go like copy this way. Thanks for having another copy menu. There we go. Jeez. Why do they have all their fun comments? I don't want to comment it out. This is why copy pasting is annoying. Scene, set the grid, every stage show. All right, we're almost there. So we need just our attributes here. Didn't copy enough. Here we go. Import, copy. Thank you, textbook. Those are imports, right? At the top. There. We got our imports. And then our attributes. Where did those go? Did it not? Let me get our stage. It didn't give it. Did I not copy enough? No? Should be there. Let's see. All right, we'll just go add one then. That's fine. Create a local variable for it. Okay, stage. Equals a new stage. And maybe it was just the one line. So let's see. So this way we're doing all of that work instead of loading it from an fxml file. We're going to create it all with code, right? Hey, here's a new grid pane. Here's a new scene. Do all those items here. The scene says, hey, here's the grid we're giving it. And then here's the size. Let's see if that one runs for us. I think we need the refactoring previews. Oops. There we go. And we get, okay, nothing yet. That's okay. Right, we got our window, the window's running, we've got a grid, we can put stuff in. So grid panes are fun. You have ways of putting items into the grid here based on what size you want the grid to be. So later he's going to go set the size of the grid with our table. So you go add it at, now this one is backwards for some reason. I don't know why, but we get columns and then rows, which drives me crazy. So grids are always backwards for some reason. So we'll go steal this one here. Get copy, sure, thanks. So set our grid. So we have a label. Yes, we have to go add our label import. Thank you. Not create a class. We want to import label. Goodness gracious. JavaFX. Controls. Import JavaFX controls. Controls? No. Where do we get labels from? Goodness. What packages label in? JavaFX. No. JavaFX. Dot. Thought it was a control. It's not doing enough magic here. Hang on. Let's go open the other one. GitHub. We had this one here. We're going to do it in a new window. We can have both open. Go to our controller. Scene control. There we go. Okay, scene control. Sure. All right, now we have a label. Have a label, so it adds it to the given column, row, and row index. And I don't know why it's backwards, but it's backwards. So we can add those ones in, and now we can start putting stuff in this grid. So we created the grid, and we have some number of rows and some number of columns. Now the sizing is still a little weird on these, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Can make it work as we need to. But now all of this work is happening essentially in Hello application. We don't have that controller file that is reacting to events on our view. So with the JavaFX fxml file, we said, hey, here's the event handler. To set up event handlers, we have to do that by hand as well. I guess we can copy the rest of his code in here. Is that okay? Did you guys go through and build out the textbook examples? Is this ruining your surprise? I'll add that one. No, I already did monthly investment. Oh, I did not. Hang on. That's a different one. Cancel. Paste. The investment. No, we did that one. That's all in one. He's just doing it in one line here. This one here. These are the ones we want. Grid. Add a bunch of labels here. I didn't hit the copy button. Copy. Thank you. Right. So instead of making a new label and then adding that new label with a name, it just makes this in line here, essentially. So we can add in our options here. We don't have any years and future value. Why did it only copy to? I'm super confused why my copy didn't work here. Is it? Oh, it's just further in. Okay, that's what it was here. Thought it was part of the comment. So I don't copy paste things usually. It just never works out well. Okay. We've got a bunch of labels, but we can't really do a whole bunch of things with those labels yet, right? So we've got some options. It's kind of ugly, but it'll work. Now, when we want to set up buttons with event handlers, that's all the alignment stuff. That's fine. You can do your own alignments. Padding, that'll make it look a little prettier, which is nice. That's fine. Our text field. All right. So our text field is where the user can type stuff in, right? So we can go and set this up as a place that they can enter these values here. And we'll go copy. Add those ones in. Yeah, it doesn't know what a text field is. Come on, not create a class. Really? I think I can do control.star and just give me everything. Okay. Yeah, have you seen the star imports? Have we done that one? Like with importing from the math library, we just import a star. Yeah, that's easier than importing them one at a time. It's technically slower, but that should be fine here. So we got a text field. So now the text field gives me a place I can type. So it says, hey, I can type something in here. Finally, I've got a place I can interact with that's more than just a button here. So I can get some user input. Right? Here's how I can get input from the user. So we'll have that one. And then we want to add in interest rates. Yeah, we can add in all of these ones. Future values. All right. And if you don't want someone to type in your field, you can set it editable as false. So it's a text field. It looks a little nicer than a label, right? But then you can't edit what's inside of it. So saying you can't touch this one here. And we'll go, oops, add that to my grid. 1, 2, and that one, 1, 1. So we can go add all these ones in here. So still no reaction yet though. So I've got all these, but now I need a place I can click on. I don't need column widths. That's fine. We need our button. Come on, button. All right, so we're going to add our button here to calculate and exit. Look at that. Now with these, we do want them to be named because we want to come back to these ones. The wrong copy button. Why does Control C does not work? Right. I want to be able to reference these later here in my event handler. So to have all those, I can make a horizontal box and throw all those items in my horizontal box. I didn't click copy, did I? Copy. Now my horizontal box is, that is a layout here. So I want all the layouts, right? There we go. And then position, I want to import the class. Did it import the right one? Looks like it did. Geometry, sure. Position, sure. All right. So I'm going to add all those buttons then to a horizontal box, which will space them out for me here. So you can put things in a container that will just kind of automatically flow here, which is nice. So I have a little bit of padding here. Oh, I forgot to add, now I have to add the horizontal box to the grid. There we go. And this one's saying, hey, I want it to take up 2 columns. We'll leave their comment in here, right? 2 columns and 2 rows, or 1 row. So spanning 2 columns, 1 row here. Which column, which row, and how many to take up here. So it takes up extra space, right? Because we have 2 columns worth of items in our grid. This way it takes up both. Oh, we're sizing it off here now. There it goes. Right. So we have calculate, we don't do anything quite yet. And we haven't quite gotten to the event handler. We're still, and do you see why I like the drag and drop approach? Right, we've written a bunch of code here that mostly could have been drag and drop in our JavaFX FXML file, right? But again, having done it this way, you'll see you can make it more flexible. You can go through a list and add 40 things here to some sort of horizontal boxes, vertical boxes, however you want to lay out your properties. Here, you've got options for putting them in there. You can make one big grid, right, and just kind of ignore the center bits and just use, row 0 and column 0 and column 10 or whatever 11. You got options for how you want to put things in. But now the event handlers, finally, goodness. For handling events, this uses an anonymous inner class, which is kind of fun. So this was the actual inner class. This is the anonymous inner class, and then this is the lambda expression. You can pick whichever one you like here. Most people, if they're using ChatGPT code, have these lambda expressions because this is later code here, right? Looks a little bit funny here, but it's essentially doing all this other stuff behind the scenes as private inner classes. Otherwise, you have to write a class here explicitly that implements your event handler. With this one, you're just saying, hey, there's a new class that does this thing here. And with the lambda expression, you just say, hey, here's the code I want you to run. This is definitely the simplest approach with the lambda expressions here. So we can say, hey, when this button set the on action to something here, what do you want to do? Well, this event will run this code. Say anonymous code handler here. Now, I don't want it to actually just click. We want it to actually run some code here. That's a bad handler. Here's our application here. Oh, there, it's all completed. Come on, give me the code. All right, here we go. We want it to calculate. So, and we can just have it run another function here, another method. It has access to another one. So you don't want to necessarily have lots of code put in here. So it's nice to say, hey, just run this other function instead of having an entire anonymous function. So we're going to go make this method. Yes, go make the method. Create a method. And now we can call this other method here. We can go take his code as well, which goes and gets all the values out here. We'll copy. Oops, no, I clicked the reference. There we go. Let's see, in my investment field. So if I declare my items here, like these fields, inside of my start method, they don't exist anywhere outside of start, right? So I need these to be class level attributes here. So I think I can extract this to refactor, introduce field, I think is what I want to do. Yes. Now they exist here. So again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to go copy paste a bunch of things. Just do your introduce field, and it will move it to become a class level field, right? So that you have access to those things outside. Right. So we'll go refactor and introduce field, future value field, refactor, introduce field. All right, so now those ones should be a little happier. Oh, look at that. He's got a whole other class here. That's fine. Calculate future value. Number format. Oh, goodness. Import the class. Sure. All right, well, we need his other class here that does that. Hang on. Do we have that one? No, where'd it go? Do we not have, he didn't give us the class? Future value class. He didn't give us the code for it. It's got to be in here somewhere, right? I didn't actually haven't read this in quite a while. That's fine. Um, that is not the hardest thing to calculate here. Let's see. So we have to go get all of these values out here, right? So we know what the investment is, right? We're getting the text out of the text field and parsing it as a double, parsing it as a this, this, and this. So it's just a little loop here, so we can loop through. So we'll say the investment at a given rate here. So we'll say for int year is 0, year is less than years, year plus plus. We're going to take our investment and we're going to increase it by the rate, right? So my investment then will, nope, not times equals the rate, plus equals my investment times the rate. There we go, for this many years. Right, so we'll add to it. It was 8%. You got 8% back added to it here, right? Here will be the future value. So eventually that'll just be our investment, I think, here. And then we'll set it to the new text. Let's see if that works for us here. Oh, the sizing is a little ugly on this one here. Let's go fix our size. So we don't want 300 by 100. Let's do like 400 by 300 or something. And without a drag and drop, it's a little obnoxious to try and figure out what the size should be. We can always try. It was a little big, but that's okay. Oh, for a monthly investment, that's right. So we have to add that much every month then as well. And then the yearly interest rate, and then the years. Okay. So we'll take that amount times the rate. Nope. So we need a total, right? So we'll have a total first. Our total equals 0, and we'll take our total plus equal the investment times the rate plus the investment. I probably could do something like to the amount of years, but this is quick here. And then future value equals the total. All right. So add in whatever you invested at your rate plus the amount of investment here. It might be giving you the interest too soon, but it's probably pretty close here. Right. So if we invest $100 a month at a yearly interest rate of 0.05% for 10 years here, we'll have 1050. That doesn't seem right, does it? Let's see. Oh, because that's monthly investment. We didn't do months, we just did years. So this would be then every month, right? So this should be times 12, right? Times 12. Because there's 12 months in a year, right? So this would be our monthly investment. I'm going to rename this one here. Nope. Oh, goodness. Monthly investment. Refactor, rename. Oh, rename right here. Monthly investments. Oh, good. I can't spell. Monthly, rename. There we go. Monthly investment. Okay. I think month times 12 months in a year times the rate plus that. So if we saved, we say $100 a month for 10 years at 0.05, 10 years here. That looks a little bit better, right? 100 times 12 times 10. That's 12,000 plus we made some interest, right? Times 0.05. And we didn't get the interest every year. Hang on. Why didn't we get the interest every year? Years should have been 10 years. We got the right number. We didn't get the interest rate. Rate should have given us that. Huh. I don't know. I'm going to put a breakpoint in here. We can run it in debug mode. Because that doesn't seem right. $100 a month, 0.05, 10 years. All right. Total is 0. Monthly investment is 100 times 12 times the rate of 0.05 plus the monthly investment times 12. So we step over 1260, right? $60 interest. Okay. And then we're going to add to it again our monthly investment. Oh, yeah. So it's not the monthly investment anymore. Sorry. This should be the total here. Oh, okay. right? The whole total amount of money should increase. I guess it's slightly harder to recreate its formula here, ever so slightly harder. That should be the total here times the rate. There we go. So now that'll, as our total increases, we'll get the total amount saved times the investment rate. Let's see if that works. 100 times 10, no, 0.05. Oh goodness, 0.05. 10 years. All right, that looks a whole lot better. Much more. That's 15,000 or so. Retirement calculators are a lot of fun like that. So if you say, hey, this is going to be what, 45 years at least, because Social Security retirement age keeps going up and up and up. Right? It's not going to be 67 by the time you guys retire. Even by the time I retire, we'll be 67. Um, so by the time you get out of school and get a job, you got at least 45 years to work, right? Probably a good. Let's see if you put $100 a month in, and then let's up this to 11% because that's about the average return on the S&P. About, again, it's not a perfect estimate here. We'll estimate that. It's nice, 1.1 million for just $100 a month, right? For 45 years. Now, if you wait 10 years in to start saving, though, you're down to just 400K. So that 10 years of compounding makes a big difference there for you. So just invest early and make a big difference. Is the best advice I can give. All right. Look at that. We learned a fun thing in addition to JavaFX. You remember we did the retirement calculator, right? In our Python class? I think we did. All right. So doing it by hand, you can add in your event handlers by setting the on action, saying, hey, this is the code I want to run when this thing happens, right? So in this case, it doesn't have to be your own function here, right? So if we have another class, right, that we've referenced here, we can call that class's code as well, right? So if we have another class, let's add a new Java class. We'll call this our, I guess we'll leave this one here. So this was the Maroc example. Maroc Java sample from chapter 12. Is that close enough for a citation? You happy with that? I'd be happy with that, I think. All right, so let's do one more new one then. Let's go try a little coffee ordering shop here. In a new project. Oh, I don't want a new project, right? I want to start with a copy of this one here. So we'll go from copy me, open this one up. Here's a coffee shop. And we'll go open that one. Open, why can you not remember to open GitHub? Open coffee shop. Do you want to use FXML or do you want to do it all by hand for a little coffee shop example? You can do it either way. No preferences? Let's use FXML. I think that's a little easier for this example. So let's go find this one here in Scene Builder then. I'm going to go find the one that's in Coffee Shop. You know what? Let's actually rename it here because that'll be really nice. Let me go rename this file to Coffee Shop View. Sure. Yeah, it says, hey, it's going to even change the name for me here in my Git resource. Isn't that handy? Let me get rid of that one. And this will be my coffee shop. All right, so in Scene Builder, we're going to go find the coffee shop view fxml file. So we're going to go open. All right, GitHub 296, coffee shop, source, main, resources, com, example, hello world. The package name doesn't make any sense anymore, but that's okay. All right, so again, I'm just going to get rid of the VBox because I don't want that. I want to start with an anchor pane. I think that's pretty easy. And then we can add in some buttons here. So when you go and order a coffee, you're going to have a couple options to pick from here. Right? I think the easy one for me right now is radio buttons, meaning you can only pick one. Right? I don't want to do multi-picks at this moment here. We'll come back to that, but for now, we're going to have, here's some options for some radio buttons. I'm going to drag in some radio buttons here. And we'll give you a couple options. So the first one we'll have is coffee. The second one we'll have here is espresso. And the last one here we're going to have is an Americano, which is just espresso and hot water, right? Kind of like a coffee, but sure. So one of these can be picked here. Now, to group them all together, I need to say these are part of a toggle group. So when you use radio buttons, only one can be picked at a time. So we need to put them in the toggle group here. So this is our beverage toggle group here. So I'm going to put all of these in. Now, after I've done one, it's a drop down, thankfully. It's like, oh, hey, there's a toggle group here. We'll go set them. Now, if I wanted to do it by hand, we could go edit our FXML file, which you can do this by hand too for other applications, but it says, hey, here's my toggle group here. And then it sets the toggle group, which is nice. So we've got all the toggle groups set. Now, coffee, espresso, Americano. And then if you pick one of those, now we want to have an option for checkboxes. So you can have more than one of these checked at a time here, because some people want cream and sugar, right? So we'll have, let's do this one for cream. That's creme cream. Should we have like milk as an option, maybe? Milk. And what about sugar? Right, and you can pick all of those if you want, right? There's no rule that says you can't have them all, right? Now those did not line up nicely. All right, so you can pick more than one, and then you can say, I think there's an align option here, isn't it? Modify, no. Thought there was a way to make them all show. That's fine. That's okay. They don't need to show up on the left, right? So if I want to be able to reference these in my code, they all need code IDs, right? So here's the coffee radio button, um, radio. Sorry, that comes out real small. Here's the espresso radio button, and here's the Americano radio button. Now, some people don't like putting radio button in when they are radio buttons. It's totally up to you. You can probably tell which one it is here, but green checkbox. For some reason, I've liked doing that. I don't know. I got into the habit of it here. Here's the milk checkbox, and here's the sugar checkbox. Um, these are probably all free, right? But now the fancy ones here, let's go add some more here, like soy milk. That's, of course, going to cost you more money, right? Soy milk checkbox. Uh, let's call this one soy milk. And we'll say, hey, this costs you like 50 cents more, right? Because anytime we can get some money out of our customers, we're going to do that, right? And then coffee, how much does coffee cost at our coffee shop here? $3. Wow, $3. Okay, how much does espresso cost? 350. All right, 350. And how much is an Americano? 4. Yeah, you can pay 50 cents for hot water. Wow. Sure. All right, so coffee, espresso, Americano, and then check which options you want here. If you want soy milk, you got some extra money here. Um, then probably need a place to show their order, right? So maybe a label. Where'd my label option go here? Label. We'll go with label. And again, this needs, I don't know, we'll call it the receipt or something here. And then it needs an FX ID. Here's our receipt label. All right, so we got all those. So I'm going to come back now. I'm going to go right click and update my controller from FXML. Oh, it gave me a null error, and I deleted the box. It removed the controller. I got to go back and put the controller back in. Now I have a controller. So now I can right click, update controller. Go over my controller. And I've got all of these ones. Just got to go add some imports. Import class. Hey, control. Let's just do star here. See if that works for us. All right. And then we don't have a welcome text here. That one doesn't exist. Okay. So these are just checkboxes here. I probably don't want to actually order until they have like an order button though, right? There's some way to say, okay, now I add to the order, right? So let me go add another button for, maybe put that above the receipt here. We got too excited having the receipt. So we'll say order. This is my order button. On action, we'll call this order. Button clicked. Clicked here, and then we'll change that text to order. And we'll go back and update the controller again from the FXML file. Yeah, action event. Goodness, really? Not AWT. No. Import x dot action event. Action event. There we go. Got it right this time. All right. So when you click the button, we need to go and figure out which one of these things we're doing. So let's go make a class for our coffee order. So this is our order here, because it can handle all this here. Right? So in order, then we'll know what beverage, right, and what add-ons and the cost. Right? We can manage all of that from here. So we probably need a couple public static um, double, I don't know, some costs for things. Coffee price here. Maybe so it was $3. That's no, that one's not. Sorry, that one doesn't go in uppercase. Public static double our espresso price. So it's 350, and public static double our Americano price you said was $4, and double soy milk price was 50 cents. Everything else was fine there, right? Really? Soy milk? I guess it is two words. Oh, yeah. Great. So then to make an order, right? So order, public order, probably don't need to tell me anything, right? To create an instance of order. But then we want to have some attributes, right? So we'll have we're going to use like an enum for the kind of order it is, the beverage type. So we did enums, right? Let me look at enums. Just putting a nice name to that. No, didn't do enums. Beverage is sure beverage type. We have coffee, espresso, and Americano. Wow, I can't spell anything today. All right. So this just gives me a nice variable name to go with it. They're kind of like static variables, but I don't need to assign values to them here. So then my order will have a private beverage type, which is a set beverage type. So I can go set the beverage type for my order to one of the possible items from my enum list here. So public void set beverage type, given a beverage type, say this beverage type is a beverage type. What's nice here is it's not exported. Do we need to mark that as public? Enum? Is that happy now? Okay, I think that's happier now. Beverage type, yeah, that's fine. So I don't need to do any sort of validation here because you can't give me something that's not coffee, espresso, or Americano, right? The only valid options are one that is this type. So it's kind of like a shortcut of making, here's a bunch of private values. I need to go and set. And a public beverage type, get beverage type, can return the beverage type. Cool, return beverage type. I don't even need this keyword. All right, so we got that. And then it probably should know what its order is here. And then maybe we need some ways to set, do you have cream? Do you have sugar? Do you have milk? Do you have soy milk? So private boolean has cream, has sugar, has soy milk. Look at that. It's suggesting all of those. Private boolean. I like it. Boolean has, didn't we have one other one here? What else do we have? We had cream, milk, and sugar. Oh, milk has milk. I'll move that up one here because that way they all go in order. And then we just want to like set and get those, right? It's not very interesting here. So let's go generate some setters and getters for my creams and sugars, right? Is has cream? Oh goodness. Ugh, that sounds awful here. Did we mess these up here? So it should just be cream, sugar, milk, cream, sugar, and milk. Then they're all is though. Ugh. All right. I don't really love any of these here. We can rename things later. It's okay. I'm not going to sweat it too much here. It's just going to look really weird, but that's fine. So we can go set all those values here then. And the other thing order needs to do then, right? All this should be false here to start. So has cream should be false, has sugar is false, has milk is false, has soy milk is false. So until we know otherwise, you get black coffee, right? So maybe we do actually want a beverage type. Should we take a beverage type for our order? because that way you'll tell me what type you are when you make the beverage here. I'm gonna go and set it. So I don't need to set beverage type, but you'll just make a new, maybe we'll leave set beverage type. I don't know. You can go change it, I guess, but you tell me which one you are to start to make the order, because that way you're gonna be one of these when you start here. All right, we've got our price, and then the last thing order needs to do is get the price. So public double get price here. Then if the beverage type, we'll say double for price, then starts at 0, and if my beverage type is equal to coffee, price plus equals the coffee price. Look at that. That should be inside of my curly braces though, right? Right. Else if my beverage type is espresso, price is the espresso price. Else if beverage type is an Americano, Americano price. Great. And then if my has soy milk, if has soy milk, right, it's going to be true then. My price is the soy milk as the soy milk price, turns price, right? That's nice. And then we want a way to represent this as a string, just to make life easy here. So we're going to add an override for public string to string. So how do we represent this string as a string? Right. So it's whatever the beverage type is plus any of these other types here, plus the cost maybe. So we want a string. Uh, let's use string builder. We can just do a string here for beverage is this, and then if the beverage type is coffee, take our beverage plus coffee. Else if the beverage type is espresso, beverage is espresso. If it's Americano, it's an Americano. Look at that. And then if it has cream, we add with cream, right? And then now this is not an else, right? Because you can have more than one of these things, right? With cream, with sugar, right? And we want to do these probably in order. So if has milk, right? No, goodness. With cream, with milk, sure, with sugar, and then soy milk, right? We'll do if has soy milk, with soy milk, with sugar, sure, all those, and then eventually, then we'll take our beverage plus a new line maybe, or total, a $sign plus get price, right? So we'll get out this ugly beverage here. And yeah, it's probably recommended we should do string builder. Oh no, local beverage, not ever assign. Okay, that's fine. So we'll get out. Here's the version here, right? So then in our controller, then when we go and click our order button, we want to go make that coffee, right? So my order equals a new order. And I need to know what is the beverage type. So I guess I need a beverage type, um, beverage type. Yeah, import the beverage type. Um, beverage type. Wow. Don't think that's going to work. That suggestion looks really fun, but getting the data off the toggle converting to a beverage type, I don't know if that's going to get the right one here. So probably not going to work for us here. That's all right. So when the button is clicked here, if we want to find out which one of these radio buttons is checked here, right? My espresso radio button, my Americano radio button, American radio button, Americano, there we go. We can go look. We can say, hey, if the coffee radio button dot is selected, then my beverage type will equal beverage type dot coffee. Why does it not like that? It cannot resolve coffee. Does it have to be its own file? Did I do it wrong? I probably did it wrong. Create enum constant coffee. Create constant field. No? Why? Okay, what do we do wrong here? I guess I can't put it here. Like enum. One related problem. All right, let's see if I can. I mean, do I just need to move it out? I have to extract it. No? I think we might just have to extract it here. Let's go add a new new. Here we go. Beverage type. Let me just have coffee, espresso americano. Is that happy now? That was just a beverage type. Coffee. Coffee. Beverage type. All right, I think we got it now. Let's see. Is this one beverage type coffee? Why is it upset? One problem. Oh, okay, we never finished. Sorry. My beverage type is coffee. Else if my espresso radio button is selected, my beverage type is espresso. Else, sure. Else if my Americano radio button is selected, beverage type is Americano. Okay, now I can give it the beverage type here for my order because I know I have one. It might not have been initialized. Oh goodness. Okay, I guess we set it. Sure, we'll set it to coffee here. It's redundant. That's fine. I don't care. All right, now we can do that. Then we can go and set any of those other ones for our checkboxes. So then if my sugar is selected, my order dot set has sugar, sure, is true. Now, I could also just set it to whether or not this box is selected, right? Anytime, because it's either going to be true or false. The box is checked or not, right? Um, it's not is checked, it's is selected, sure. So we could go through and just do it that way, right? I don't need to have a bunch of ifs here. I just go and say, hey, set it to whatever this is, right? So then my order set has cream to the cream checkbox, set has milk to the has milk box, order dot set has soy milk to the soy milk is selected. Look at that. So we'll just go and set those four as we go here then. Then I can take my receipt label, set the text to my order dot toString. So it should say, okay, here's how much this costs for you. Right. So I got a bunch of radio boxes, a bunch of check boxes here, and it should work for us. Let's give it a try. Let's try hello application. Right. So I can pick coffee with milk, order it. Coffee with milk, $3. Add soy milk, milk and with soy milk. Okay, that got a little bit long, $3.50. We changed to Americano, $4.50. Looks like it's doing what we expected to do now, right? With cream, with milk, with sugar. All right, that's a little bit long, but that's okay. I guess we do commas if it's fine. You could make this look prettier if we really wanted to here, but I think it seems to be getting the job done. So let's just make that a little bit bigger then. Or should we move the receipt down here maybe? That might be nice. Now, it might also be nice to tell them how much it costs as they're making their drink, right? Wouldn't that be fun? So what we can do is as these things are selected here, we can also have on actions, right? Which really is like the order button. It's not really the order button clicked, but that's okay. So I'm going to set all of these to say, hey, when you are clicked here, run some code to show your receipt. So let's go see if that works for us here. So it's at least going to show us the beverage as we go and make it, right? We check the boxes, uncheck the boxes here. We just need to make sure we go update from the controller here. Did it set it here? Let's see. Yeah, because it didn't have to make any more code. It just went and set the on action. Yep, so all the on actions are set here. Let's give it a run. So as I pick one of these things here now, okay, coffee for $3 with soy milk, $3.50, sugar, milk, cream, change it to Americano, whatever here, right? Take all those, order. Right, so we're seeing what it is. So maybe now we want a way to be able to order more than one beverage at once, right? Wouldn't that be nice? So we can add in, so this is maybe not the receipt then, this is like, here's what the order is, and then maybe we have a final receipt somewhere else. You can have one of these fun text areas here. Text area. So let me actually add this one. Let's move that up to the top here for the current drink. And then, so instead of the receipt labels, here's the current drink here. Actually, I don't want to change that. Shoot. That's fine. I changed it. That's going to mess things up later. because now I don't have a place in my controller. Hang on, let's go update from, here's my current drink set text. Okay, all right, that'll be fine. So now we can go add the text area here down below, and that's a little tall, so let's shrink that down a little. And we'll have this one, then this is our receipt text area. So we'll save that and then go update our controller. So now when we click the order button, we actually want to do a different thing finally. So in my controller, I really want a different thing to happen for my order button. So I want this one to stay as like drink selected, and then I want order to be different here, right? It's a little bit of a bummer, but that's okay. So I need like a place to have the current drink. So I'm going to have a private order, current order, right? And I can set my current order to that one there, right? So my current order is a new order. I should have just renamed it here. My bad. All right. And then when we actually want to order it here, so this is like our update essentially. So let me go and let's refactor, rename this one here. Rename this is I don't know. It's not the order button clicked. This is our drink button clicked here. And then we'll go back to our fxml file. Let's see. So that should change it in here for all of our, didn't change it there. Shoot. We wanted to change that to drink button clicked. So we can go change it here to drink button clicked. All of those ones. So all of them except for the actual order button here. I want to do the drink button clicked, and we can come back in here and make a new update from fxml. Now I have my order button clicked. When I want to do the order, I need a place to store all my orders then. So maybe we have in the controller a private array list of order, call it orders. Yeah, let's import array list, import, and public hello controller. I want my array list. There we go. So I have a new orders array list. I can take and add that to the order. So orders dot add my current order, right? That adds that drink to my order. And then I want to take my text area, receipt text area, and this one has an append text. And we can go and add this to the list. We're going to add the current order to string here to that. And then when we're all done, right, then we can get a grand total somewhere. We probably need like a grand total label. Let's go add one more box somewhere. I don't know. We'll just add one more label somewhere. Again, I'm terrible at making UIs look pretty. It's okay. We'll have, I don't know, grand total. This is our grand total label. And this will say grand total. Okay. So when that's all done, then we can go and set that. So we'll take our grand total label and we're going to set text to grand total of something. Well, I need to go get that grand total here, right? So we'll have a double for grand total, starts at 0, and then for order in my orders, I can take my grand total plus equals the order get price. Right? So go through and get the total of every order, add them all up here, so I have my grand total. All right, that might be it. Let's see if that one works for us here. So as I'm building out my drink here, oh, let's see, can't invoke order to string because order is null. Uh-oh. We got a crash there. So it didn't actually crash all the way. That's just interesting. Oh, current order. No, that's my beverage type is a new order. Right? Why wouldn't that, where did that fail? At my order button clicked, order line 70. Did I click the order button first? Order button clicked. This one, drink, 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 drink. That's order. I don't think I did. That's weird. All right, let me try running it one more time. Sorry. That was weird that it would have given me an error. espresso. I never clicked order button clicked. Something's not working right here. Something's a little bit off here. That's really weird. What is my on action? Not order button. Okay, it must have reset it here. So I want this one to be, what do they call that one? Drink button clicked, isn't it? Drink button clicked. Let's go change that. So I don't know how it got changed. Drink button clicked, drink button clicked, drink, 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 drink. Okay, so just that one was messed up here. That's weird. Um, let's try it. All right, so here's my coffee with cream and sugar. We'll add that one to the order. Great, and we can make another espresso with. So I could reset the buttons if we wanted every time we click order as well, right? We could. We could uncheck all of those, or maybe most of them want to. Oops, I forgot my new lines here. You got to add in new lines. Um, add this with a new line. \n. There we go. You got to do your own when in those text areas, unfortunately. All right, let's try and add a couple drinks. It's probably fine to leave the boxes checked. I don't know. Just black coffee, plain Americano, espresso with milk and sugar, Americano with soy milk. Right, grand total looks like it's working okay. We might want like a clear, I don't know, it's in order to close it out. So we could add in more features as we wanted here, right? That part made sense? So the controller then, all it needs to do is get some input and work with the class here. So again, if you want to use FXML, great. It's not that hard to build out your 40 properties. If you want to do it code first, that's okay too. Both will work. Right? Whichever approach you'd like to use, you can build out to set up your 40 properties here. Have the tokens go around the board. But let's set up that next assignment here. This will be project 3. All right. Project 3, due in 2 weeks before class starts. And do you remember how many points the last one was? The last one was 30. All right, so let's go up to 40 for this one then. Keep making them more and more and more. All right. Let's just use the same repository. Is that okay? So we don't need to make a new one because it'll be a whole new. I guess we can make a new one. You're gonna have to copy paste anyway. It's fine. We'll make a new one here. Sure.
Can't we just keep the same repository?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Keep the same one. That's fine. So using the project 2 repository. Recommend you copy my JavaFX hello world. Copy me project to start. Because new IntelliJ is annoying. Doesn't have the JavaFX project type without paying. Still opens them. It just doesn't have the start. Like, I don't know. Sure, it's their software. They wrote it. I can't give away their software for free, but that's fine. So we're going to recreate our Monopoly game with a GUI. Okay, so different numbers of players will start the game, right? So it doesn't have to always be 2 players. It doesn't have to be 3 players. How many players do you want? Right? You can either have a way to add player to it in your screen or however you want to go. Next week we'll look at having. I guess we can do that real quick, where one scene launches another scene. So you can have here's my like start a new game or load game, and then here's the actual game screen. That'd be a little bit easier here. Right, so we're going to add in and feature to buy houses and hotels. If you own all the properties of a set, you can build up to 4 houses on it, which increases the rent cost. Increases rent cost after you have all properties with 4 houses. You can build a hotel, which further increases the rent cost. Right? Very exciting. Hopefully you've all played Monopoly before. If not, go play it. It's lots of fun. It's a very exciting game. So add in the hotels and houses and hotels feature. So you'll need a way to track that. right, in your property, how many houses it has, and make sure you can only do that if the player owns all of them. So you need to have like groups of properties somehow. Uh, right. Any way you want to do that's okay. We got lots of different options for how we group those together. Um, and so we'll have a screen to start new game or load game, and then a screen to play the game and save. Let's see. So we need a bunch of points here then, right, for the rubric? No, online.
Is it gonna take us longer than the actual like original project?
Depends how you wrote it. Adding the houses and hotels will take a little bit of time, but if you already have a class for property, right, you just add in how many houses it has or hotel it has. And all you have to do is figure out, do they own all of them? Whether they can build it, and you need a way to build houses and hotels, and which one you want to build it on. So again, having 40 properties with, no, I guess it's not 40, right? Because some of them were blanks. Having a button to build house on this one, it's fine. If you have to, drag that in 40 times, it's a little slow. It's doable, or you want to do it programmatically and just create them all in code, and every property gets a button on the screen. You can do that as well. You got choices, but you need to figure out like which button you're clicking here, which gets to be part of the fun. Um, oh, that's right. We wanted to add in the add chance and community chest spaces. All right. Do you guys want to work with a partner on this one? Right, we'll make it optional. If you want to work with a partner, you can. If not, that's okay too. Um, let's see. So the next project will be again optional partners. It's a good trial run for your final project team here. If you'd like to work a partner, please let me know. Set up shared access to a repository. That way you can both commit to the same one here. With a partner, comma? Sure. All right. So let's build out a rubric. 40 points. Really? Okay, sure. So this is project 3. This is a GUI. Play the game. It's like button to roll, buy properties, whatever here. Sure. I will do 10 points for that one. We'll do properties, have houses and hotels for another 10 points here. Buy properties, dot, dot, dot. Whatever stuff is we want here. For houses and hotels, we'll do 10 more points. For chance and community chest, cards, and then I don't know. Do you want for scene start new slash load game scene and play game scene? Do 10 points just for having like the two scenes work like that. That make sense? All right, cool. So let me show you how one scene can load another scene here. So we'll go. Let's start up another FXML file here. So we go add another view, new. This is our welcome FXML. Right, so, and then I need another controller. So I'm going to add a new Java class for welcome controller here. And let's go open that one up here. Open the welcome controller. I'm going to add in, let's just do the anchor pane again. Let's add a button here and a text area, text field, sorry. Text field. All right, this is launch coffee shop. And then maybe we'll put this one in as name here. Oops. Name text field. And prompt text name. Sure, that's probably close here. All right. Give that one a save. So let's actually start with that one then. So our hello application can launch then, instead of the coffee shop view, it's going to launch our welcome view here. So when that launches then, it should launch out the welcome view, which again doesn't do anything yet. We're not there yet, but that's okay. We'll get there in a second. So we got welcome. So this needs to have an on action of launch button clicked here. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is a launch button, and I want launch button clicked. Launch button clicked here. Does this one have a name? Yeah, it has the name text field. Great. So I'll go update my controller. Oh, I have to set the controller here, right? So set the controller to the welcome controller. Now I can go and update it here. I should update my welcome controller. Oh, let's go add the, so steal them out of here. Control and action event here. Yeah, the imports. Okay. All right, when you click it then, so I need to go and set the other scene essentially. So I have the stage, right? So in my Hello application, I have this stage, right? It has a scene set as this scene. I need to go set a different scene here. And honestly, it's been a little while. I have to go Google how to do that one here. Our JavaFX controller set scene to a different scene. I've done it before. I could go look at my code, but I probably get a good answer here too. Let's see. Switch scenes. Get class, set the root to this one here. Scene switcher is the root. Great, sure, let's try. Um, Probably need the exception handler, right? Let's see if that works. So in my welcome controller, sure, add some more imports here. Import. This one is going to be then my coffee shop view fxml. Now, where do I get the stage from? This primary stage. I have to go get the root. Hang on. I think this one. Come on, Stack Overflow. I guess it doesn't want the ChatGPT bot scrolling its content here. Let's see. This one had it here. Scene get name, get class. Switch a root node on the existing scene. Set the pane. I just want the stage here. I need to know the stage. Stage is a member of the application. All right, I've done this one. Hang on. There's a way to get the stage here. Sorry, JavaFX controller get stage. The stage is parent loader load controller. Load is that app get scene get window anchor pane. That looks like it might work here. Let's try that. So it's a stage, import stage. This needs to be the anchor pane itself. Okay, so we need to give the anchor pane an ID. Sure. Anchor pane, we're getting there. Let's see. Anchor pane, sure. Let's see if that one works here. So we got it from here. And then update the controller. Doesn't have get seen. Shoot. No get seen. All right, well, that didn't help then. Anchor pane, get seen. Loader. Loader.load. Controller set stage. No. Get resource scene. All right, hang on. I've got some code that does this. Where do I have that? All right, that one didn't work for us. That's a bummer. Stage. Don't want us the local variable stage. Was there another hit here? Switch to switch scene? No. Main app dot switch scene has the stage. The stage is the stage. So that's a start. Is that what we have here? We have main application has a start. Okay. So this one could have the stage. Okay. So let's do that then. So we'll set the stage for main application. And then we can set primary stage to stage. Stage is uh, primary stage is the stage. Okay, so set a primary stage to the stage, loads it all. That's all primary stage. Right, and then public goes and sets it here. Okay, sure, why not? Switch scene, given the XML file. Um, application.class, get resource of the XML file. Sure. All right, so we can call switch scene on our parent class. Let's try that. So from welcome controller, we'll just say switch scene. Don't need anchor pane. Don't need that one. There's going to be our hello application. Hello application. Dot switch scene. Okay, to the coffee shop. Let's try that. Why is it not like that? Unhandled exception. Oh, bad stuff could happen. Okay, that's fine. More. Let's just try with the try catch. It could crash here if it doesn't load. That's fine. Right. Should we try that? There's a lot of work to switch scenes here, but let's see. So loads welcome. Launch. Hey, we're here. Okay. Now, how do we get values in? Right. It would be nice to be able to pass in. Hey, how many players was that? Right. So I want to be able to switch scenes, and I can pass in additional information then in our switch scene here. So we'll have a string or an int for number of players, or no, well, ours was name, right? So string for name here. So we've got our fxml, our scene is loaded, set the stage, and then we need to set that hello controller, right? If we wanted this to like have a way to have a name here, we pass in a set name. So you have a string for name, and then we can go and set name and get name. Sure, we'll just generate getters and setters for name. So after we go make one of those, take our hello controller. Oh goodness, it's not there. It's the loader. Scene. Scene. We have to get the controller out of there. Get the controller. Get controller. Get the controller. Sorry, there's a way to pass it. I'm trying to remember what it is now to pass in how many players. Uh, I should have done this more recently. Sorry. Let's see. No, I don't need to take it more. I'll post the code in a little bit. I can go digging for it. I've got it somewhere. I have to go find it. Well, you can pass in the number here. I'll leave it at a 2. It's name 2. view controller, so that we have it here. I'll find a way to pass that for you here. Is that okay? All right, so we're gonna work on Monopoly. I'll get you what you need so you can flip between the two scenes. It'll be a good start for. Then you can either load the game, load right into the new scene, or we can come back the other way. Okay. All right. Thanks, folks.